Y'all know what it is. Push it ties, you can see it in my eyes. Woo!
Holla, 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 holla,
Tell 'em holla, bruh.
holla, 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 holla,
Tell 'em holla, bruh.
You came with your homies, you gon' leave with them.
Damn.
But that model chick, yeah, I'm gon' leave with her.
holla, 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 holla,
Tell 'em holla, bruh.
holla, 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 holla,
Tell 'em holla, bruh.
You came with your homies, you gon' leave with them.
We're live. We're live.
How's it going?
Pretty good. What up, bro?
Bruh, moments.
We've
Back at it.
we've been off here a little bit. We're waiting a while for a new product to come in that we want to talk a little bit about tonight, and I'm holding a piece of it right here. But it is the Tacti-Grip Livescope Shuttle. And they make other shuttles, but we ordered the Livescope shuttle, and it was out a number of weeks in production. I think a guy got bombarded with orders. So we've been waiting a little while for it, and we got it in. And I was telling John just before we popped on that perfect timing getting it in. There's some chat rooms are lit up here lately with some questions about the aluminum product, the Arc Lab product. I was on the Garmin chat room that I saw it, and it was questioning whether or not the Arc Lab was worth the money, and it's a legitimate question, right? And so some of the Arc Lab guys jumped on right away and were disparaging the 3D printed products, and I had just got mine, and I know you've had yours, and you're in a more advanced state with yours, but they were criticizing the quality of it, the 3D printed quality, saying it was going to break or it was junk, and I didn't like the quality. But that was not my first impression. So
right, yeah, it's whenever somebody, it's not a good look to. I mean, I do a lot of product management in my professional world, and you should stand by what you have and focus on what you do. It's not good to be knocking other people's stuff, because you know what? I mean, it's physics. Do we know that metal or stainless is stronger than plastic? Yeah, we know that, but this stuff is really rugged. I mean, it's super rugged.
So we'll do a couple things here real quick. I'll show you how this thing comes to you, and then maybe John, you can talk a little bit about putting it together. So here's one of the pieces, right? Here's the base piece. It's got the battery compartment is here. What is this, John? Talk a little bit about what
so on the front, you've got the power switch, like for the glow cup. And then also on the other side, if you have like the ice defender that keeps your hole, there's something attachment you can put the ice defender on there. It'll keep your hole open when you're out hole hopping. And then in the middle, there's if you flip open that little tab, Brian, that is a USB plug-in. And then when you close the cap, there's actually two of them there. When you close the cap, that cap lights up and tells you how many volts are in your battery. So it's a voltmeter on the front, which is really cool. I mean, now we don't need it on the Livescope so much, because the Livescope tells you how many volts are left. But it's nice if you do plug a phone in. Like this weekend, I had my phone plugged into that, and I don't have to bring a charger with anymore, right? Because Brian and I run the 32 amp hour battery. I mean, it's awesome from Amped Outdoors, so it lasts forever.
So then the second piece was actually the top with the handle and our big 10-inch mounting bracket on there. And this particular one here is offset, right, John?
Yeah, what's cool about Tacti-Grip is as they do this and as their community of owners has ideas, because it's 3D printed, they can adjust on the fly, and they made a modification, a really smart. That's the cool thing about ice fishermen, right? They're so creative. It's because it's blue collar guys, right? They create stuff, and they're like, hey, could you offset the monitor so there's more room for the cable wrap? And that's what they did. And then along with that, he modified our rod holder, our rod holder for us, and that's the cable wrap.
And that goes on the opposite side of the offset, right?
Exactly, right there. So you have more room to wrap the cable, which I have tested out already myself, and I love it. And then on the other side, there's an attachment for the double rod holder. and then that just slides down that groove, and then he can throw 2 rods on there too. And he's got also, he could do a rod and a cup holder. He could do 2 rods and a cup holder. He can build off of it if you want, if you've got an idea. That's what's cool is, you know, as they settle into production, and their supply chain is, you know, and he's able to just handle everything better. I like how innovative they are. Also, if you pull up your transducer pole, we got a modification there, and I'll pull out those 3 spindles. And the old way, all 3 look like the smaller one, Brian. So that smaller one, and that's how all 3 look like that. What he did, ice fishermen told him, hey, we don't like pulling the pole out every time. Could you just change the design so that we could push the pole to the back of the hole and have a front opening like that? And that works great. Yeah. Yep. Now, a lot of times I fish 2 holes anyways. I know guys say, hey, when I'm hole hopping, I don't want to pound 2 holes. But with the Milwaukee Fuel brushless and the Strike Master, I can pound as many holes as I want. You know, I don't. So, yeah, the transducers, that pole is great. Those cable mount system is beautiful because you can adjust those. And then there's the transducer. Now, that pin, one thing I think I will do is I'm going to buy a few more of those pins, I think, because or another style where it maybe goes through and there's another pin. I'm a little scared. It's stays in there nice, but I'm worried I'm going to drop that someday or lose it. And I want to have extra ones or maybe have a cotter pin at the end. I don't know.
Sure.
But that's nice too, because you could take the pole, the transducer off the pole, and if you're packing it, you could throw the thing behind in the back of your 4-wheeler or in a box, and then the transducer can go with the unit.
Right. That's smart to have it be detachable like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it comes in essentially 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces in a hardware kit.
Yeah. And there's a video. I think is it Bass Assassins or Bass Monkey did a video. He's got all the videos for how to assemble it on Tacti-Grip's Facebook page.
What size pole did we get? Because down here you can loosen this, right? And then
you just turn, I think 62. I forget, Brian, but the longest one. A lot of guys didn't do that. He said he's not sure why we wanted why do you want such a long pole? Well, this weekend, I was in 21 inches of ice.
Right. And I've fished in 3.5 feet of ice before.
Yeah. So and we're going to get more. So I'm sure that I just figured too, I don't want to get, it's like, do we need the extension for the auger? Well, you always bring it with, right? The last thing you want to do is not have it, right? So,
right.
And the thing is, you can make it small, you know?
Right. So when I picked this up, I had absolutely 0 questions about the durability. 0. Yeah. I picked it up. The handle's solid and stable. Yeah. The plastic is dense and, I mean, I had no thoughts that this was going to break whatsoever. Now, like you said, is aluminum stronger than this? Yeah. Is this going to break? I don't know. I don't think so. It doesn't feel like it to me.
I mean, I just, I didn't go on the longest run, but I did probably a 2-mile run with my 4-wheeler, and I had it strapped to the front of my 4-wheeler. And you know how that is a jarring ride, right? And, there's a little bit of, with the 10-inch screen, there's a little bit of, moving around, but nah, I'm not worried about it. I think it's.
Let's see it assembled. Have you got it handy? Now, the whole thing together, what did it weigh? 25 pounds?
24. Oh, sorry.
There you go.
So 24. And the black box is on the back. I got a little towel mounted on there. Here, I'll show you the. One thing that was pretty sweet was this light.
Oh, yeah.
That light is really nice. And then I got my pole. I got the green and black. And what I love about it is my makeshift design didn't have this where you could turn it,
Yeah.
So I really like that. But yeah, it's nice. It's really nice. I mean, hey, I was carrying a milk crate around with 2 hands.
Yeah.
And I think I was like, I don't know, probably close to the same weight, maybe a little heavier, but I'm carrying this around with one hand, no problem.
Yeah.
So what I did was, I don't know if you have any of the photos I sent you, but I set it up on my four-wheeler because I was thinking hole hopping, yes, but sometimes I just go, we don't want to unload yet. We just want to check a spot. So I mounted it to the front of my four-wheeler. When I ride out, I have it face me so I can look at the mapping. And then when we get there, I just spin it around and I have it bungee down. And then I just, I used the light to set up the first hole, because I forgot my headlamp. I drilled a hole. I left it right in my four-wheeler and I fished from it. I think Brian's probably dialing up a photo.
I was trying. I got issues here. My other monitor went haywire on me.
But what I did was I dedicated the front of the four-wheeler to Livescope. And I took my 2 Culpin grips and I made that, pushed it to the side, made it smaller for the transducer pole. And then I mounted it to the front of the four-wheeler and I put the auger in the back. I bought the Versa rack from Ice Runner auger clamp thing. So it goes in the back by my 5-gallon pails and I'm able to have the front now. Can I go 10 mile ride with it on the front? I don't know. I mean, I might have to figure out next season. I'll probably work on some sort of a different basket. The front of my Sportsman has an open rack system in it. I don't know. I'd like to have a little bit more closed rack so I could put some clamps on the bottom of the rack and just clamp down onto the unit. But it worked. I mean, I showed it to a buddy of mine. I was out there. He's like, dude, this is a nice rig,
Yeah. I'm going to see if I can't get a picture of it because I thought it was pretty cool. I'll try another tab.
I got the idea from last year when we were out on Lake Nunya in Minnesota.
Is that showing up?
Yeah. Yep. So this is the front view as I drive out. Now I don't have the background mapping yet. I got to get that yet. Like $170 or $150. But this, a lot of guys mount a special separate locator to be able to go look at the lake mapping when they're driving. With this, I'll just use this.
Yeah. Did you have it? How is it secured down there?
So across the top is bungees, and then down below, they make some bungees that are less stretchy.
Yeah.
I had 2 of those. If you look at the way yours is built, Brian, in the handle part, there's some circles that are
right here.
There's some really rugged circles. Yeah, I put those. I clamped them right there.
Okay.
And I clamped it down. So it's clamped down in place. And then, so forward, it's pinched against the front. So it's tight. So, I mean, I'm being real careful because I don't want to lose a $3,000 unit off the front of my wheeler, right?
Right.
But I do think there's something I could do better than that. But for now, it sure was nice just to be bungee because it's so easy to turn around the other way. It's so easy to take it off and go hole hop with it. Now, if you have another photo of how I moved the Culpin grips, that was the weight, 24.4. That sounds like a lot, but that's nothing. Oh, that's I think it's that first photo. Go back.
One?
Yeah, there. So I took the Culpin grips that I was using for my auger and I just repositioned them. And now I can lock that thing down right there. So I can leave the transducer.
Yeah. So you leave the transducer on or did you take it off in this picture?
No, I left it on.
Oh, okay.
So then I just, boom, I'm out. Just like I would with the auger, we get to this spot, I take it down, I just quickly unhooked 2 of the bungees, spun it around, hooked them back in, and then I was fishing off the front of the wheeler, and I think you probably have that photo too.
Yeah, let's see here. Bear with me as I slide through them.
There's it together on the floor. 2 rod holders there.
No, now I'm into your old one. I must not have that one.
Oh,
not on Messenger.
The one I just sent you. Here, let's do something. Let's do something live here. Let's see. Let's test our skills.
Yeah, send it to me on Messenger.
All right.
I'd like to see if I could get a hold of Gary too. I don't know if he's watching. And see because he was out using his Summit. I'd love to hear his experience with that.
All right, it's coming right. Right now, she's sending
Via
Messenger.
aha, boom. Oh, look at that setup.
Yeah. So what I've got is you can see the Versarack auger system in the back, which I like. It's on the back of the 2 5-gallon pail racking system.
Right there. Yeah.
And that has a nice clamp down, Brian. It's very rugged. It clamps right down. It's going nowhere. So then I got the transducer in the front. So here's what I was doing. What I was doing is moving around a little bit, right? Like I'd fish a little bit. Now I found them there. So I had only one hole, obviously, to start. I found them right underneath me. I've tracked them down, got on top of them. Then I always like to have 2 holes. And I know you don't think this is a good idea, but I like running a dead stick in one.
Yeah.
And you can see I've got the dead stick on the side of the 4-wheeler on the left-hand side.
I see that. Yeah.
I got my coffee, right?
Yeah.
I got my ice scoop hanging on the rack, which, by the way, bad idea.
Why is that?
Ice scoop right over holes, not a good idea. I lost that scoop that day. Yeah.
Perfect aim right over the hole, huh?
Well, I didn't lose it there, but in the shack later on, I lost it down the hole. And then I fished in the right one with a jig. So I bring them on this particular body of water. They kind of come into the dead stick, and then you catch them. So you fish the dead stick down low, and then the fish come in, and then you fish over the top of them with the jig, and you'll end up catching them. So yeah, but I loved it. I mean, that way, this is kind of like what you did last year, but you were on the back of the Ranger. So then you guys would sit down, and with the screen, you can tip it down really well that way.
Yeah.
It only goes maybe, it doesn't go all the way back up the other way.
Yeah.
But it was really nice. Like I even sat down on a bucket for a while there in my chair and was fishing, and it's video games,
Yeah.
I don't know if I could fish without it. Like literally if something happened, and it turned off, I'd be like, okay, let's pack it up.
So you ran around the lake to a few different spots, and this mobile operation works well.
Yeah, and then I also took it off of there and had like 6 or 8 holes drilled somewhere else and just walked around. And because you don't have to carry your rods right there in the rod holder, it's just unit in the right hand, transducer in the left, or even I was getting to the point where if you've got it positioned right, you can just carry it all in one hand and go. You could have a minnow bucket in the other hand if you needed minnows or whatever, but
so no quality issues, no worry about it breaking.
I didn't worry about it at all.
No,
and it's how I am. I run stuff hard. I mean, I ran that thing all the way out to the spot and back, strapped to my 4-wheeler. Then I drove home with it. I'm like, I'm gonna leave it mounted on the top of on the 4-wheeler on the drive home too. Yeah. So
no problem.
No problem. Now I'll test the heck out of it, but this stuff is really, what'd you say? It's ABS, right? I think.
Yeah, it looks like high density. It's a high density print, and it's ABS.
Yeah, it's and it was. I had it in the cold weather. I mean, obviously we'll keep field testing it, right? But so far so good. And first thing I got comments are like, "Oh my god, I love that color. That's sweet." He's like, "You're never gonna forget that on the ice, because I can that bright green, and it actually even kind of, if you get under the right light, it even kind of glows that color." So
yeah,
but yeah, well worth the wait. We're gonna get a chance to try it out. I'm gonna try it out a bunch more. I mean, I go every weekend, so I'll let you know if anything comes up. But good service too. Like one of the things that we wanted was when he offset the monitor, the original rod holders, if you look, the way this was, it wasn't going to work with the offset. Oh yeah, maybe you can. So the way this is like that needed to be offset a little bit. So the new one Brian's got shows how inside of that week, they designed a new one for us that is offset to match. Yeah, there you go. So that's cool. I mean, that's what's cool about 3D printing. Yeah, you can see it really well. I don't hear you though, for some reason. But you can see how they were able to adjust. They offset the channel then, and then that made that work really well. So I ran that this weekend. I ran 2 rods in there. Well, all my rods. I had schoolie and like a Gens reel. They both worked really great in the seat of the rod holder. They're made with like, this channel here, so they don't bounce out. And it's deep. It's the length of this. So if you had a long handle on it, it still would work. I have a walleye rod that would work. It works in there too.
Yeah. So any modifications you're thinking of?
One thing I did do is I did replace the hardware on the black box spot. The hardware that comes with it is kind of small in my opinion, because the black box is heavy. It's the heaviest part of this thing.
Was a black box mount in here, John? Or
no, all the way in the back.
Okay.
There.
Turn it around. Here.
It mounts there.
Okay.
And you mount the cords up because you want to be able to see your status light. And I upgraded the pins on there, the bolts. So I'll show you. If you look at the back of mine, you see the bolts there, Brian?
Oh yeah.
Right there.
Yeah.
So I just went up a notch to
like a quarter.
A thicker, yeah, like a quarter.
These are the ones that are coming with it.
Yeah. And he said he's never had anybody complain about them or have them not be good enough. But you know what? I got plenty of hardware here from like 5 million, different projects. So I just upgraded it because that's the most expensive part of this, I would imagine. And that's what I beefed that up. That's it.
Yeah.
And he said if you think that's a good idea for me, he goes, I can beef those up too.
Sure. Right. Yeah.
And they were Allen heads, Brian, I think, if I remember right.
Yep. All of them.
Would rather it be a Phillips. So I think it's Allen because it's harder. If someone came about that, how are they going to steal that off of there, right? But
right.
Me, if you're taking that chance, you're probably taking the whole thing with you anyways.
I think it's pretty standard. All just about every component that I've purchased for Garmin has been Allen. Little visitor, special.
She'll probably want to come back in here in 2 minutes anyway. So yeah, that's the only thing I did different on assembly. He's got a cable management system inside of that. The black piece. Yeah, you're supposed to wrap the cables around that black piece. I didn't see that till I was done.
Here. Yeah.
That piece, yeah. I just took mine because mine are already nicely bundled in a circle, and I fit them right up that hole there, Brian.
In this channel here.
Yeah, and there it's so much cable, it just fit tight, perfect. So no problem for me. Yeah, happy. One modification. I'm gonna probably see what his pole looks like for boats too. He said he's gonna do a pole for boats.
Oh, there is Gary. He said, what did he say? I haven't used it yet. Yesterday's smallmouth adventure was traveling as light as possible due to walking out. Vexlar. What's that?
What a baby! What a baby! I thought he was kind of like a big time marine or something.
Yeah, that's exactly right. You would have found the smallmouth faster if you'd have used your live scope. Come on, man.
I fish a lot with another guy that is a very good fisherman, and he has the like a Vexlar, and I mean, he knows how to use it, right? So when they're there and they're within a foot, and they got to be within a foot of that Vexilar. I don't know what anybody tells you, but I've literally been next to him fishing with my live scope, and I'll say, hey, you got to fish 3 feet away. He's like, I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing him. And I'm like, he's coming. He's on your left. Okay, now he's there. He's like, okay, now I see him. And it was right within a foot. It had to be of him.
Right.
To see it. Now, I'm looking 90, what is it? I'm looking up to 85 feet right now. I've been looking out, and it seems to be just fine.
You said you've even seen bait fall off the guy's jig, right?
Oh, I'll tell him, hey, your minnow head just fell off the jig. He's like, oh my God, you can see that? So it's incredible. I mean, I was using little power bait crappie nuggets, and I could see those fall off sometimes.
Yeah.
That's how detailed it was. And, just learning about how fish move, how fast walleyes are compared to anything else.
Yeah.
It's amazing how fast a walleye is compared to a crappie. And another thing with walleyes is they'll miss. They're terrible. They miss the bait. They swim away. They come back. They miss again. They're crappies. They don't miss. Crappies never miss. If they want to eat, they eat. They don't miss. And in a walleye, it's just hilarious watching them. I mean, they'll take them 3-4 swipes at it. And back in the day, I suppose we're just sitting there wondering.
Yeah.
No clue. I was even looking at another guy's tip down too.
Yeah.
So where I fish, people like to get that close to you where you can see how green their eyes are, And,
What?
And I could see his tip down from my shack.
Yeah.
And he didn't have any fish by him, so he didn't know that. So
it's too bad you couldn't aim a pulse of energy over there and
right. Yeah.
So you have people moving in on you?
People like to move in on you around here, especially after church.
after they've already gone and confessed, then they can come and do it all over again.
Like clockwork. Yeah. About 12:30, 1 o'clock, all of a sudden here come all the Catholics. Come out and try to fish right on top of you. So
That's
actually
funny.
Caught a bunch of crappies and a yellow lab.
Oh, did he ran through your stuff?
Yellow lab ran up talking to my buddy and distracted a little bit. He got into his shack and he came out and he had it in his mouth, and they had to use forceps to get it out of his mouth.
Oh, jeez.
And I said, say you're fishing too close without saying you're fishing too close. I've hooked your yellow lab. So I was messing with him. I texted him later on and said, hey, how are you going to prepare that yellow lab? He's like Cajun style.
Gary says when he gets his wheeler delivered, he'll have it out there. He told me he was going, and the spot he's going to is fun. It's on Lake Nunya Business as well. Yeah. But it's a hike right now, and the snow's deep. I don't know how much snow is out there, Gary. Was there a foot? There's got to be 18 inches of snow on the ice.
Yeah, I mean, I'd still carry it. I don't care what it would take. I'd backpack it because it'll probably fit in some backpacks too. I mean, if you have the 9-inch for sure, and you don't have the offset, because our offset version makes it a little wider. But
I think he's got a gas auger though, so I think that adds some weight to his setup. I think
I got one in the garage and hasn't left there in 15 years.
Yeah, no, but I didn't want to make the trek out there through the snow. We're supposed to get another 9 to 15. They're saying tomorrow.
Yeah, I heard they keep changing it. It's just a dusting here now.
Really?
Yeah, it's changed to a dusting to 1 inch or something.
We need this one to slide south onto you guys.
We had 21 inches of ice on the lake I was on, and only maybe this much snow.
So how was the bite? How's the crappie bite holding together there? Because I know you're kind of
good.
Was it still there?
Yeah, we don't want to talk about any details about any settings on Lake Nunya.
No spots, but was the crappie bite still in the basin?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, it was. Just got to find them and stay on them, and keep trying stuff, because it's so amazing how how crazy these fish are. They are scared of everything too, dude. I mean, they don't like trucks. They don't like. I mean, we had like Johnny four-wheeler next to us giving kids rides around, and I'm like, I told my buddy, I said, hey, this is kind of like a deer drive. He's gonna work those fish right towards us, So yeah, it's amazing, Brian, though, how scared, and even in 20, 25 feet of water, they don't like a lot of noise up top. They don't.
Yeah.
Snowmobile for sure. A gas auger too, it scares them.
I saw that this weekend on the Elite Series event that was down in Florida, that they were actually moving in closer to fish without their trolling motors. They were using push poles.
Yeah.
Because they were seeing that just the prop spinning was chasing them away. They're just conditioned. They get conditioned to pressure now.
Yeah. So you had other things I'm noticing is, you got to continually work the bait away from them. You can't, if you let it sit there and they get a chance to look at it, they don't bite it. And you got to keep it, unless they're on, and there was a bite window of like an hour where it didn't matter what you had down there. I mean, I had 2 fish on at once, dead sticks going crazy. One time I left just to put something in the back of the four-wheeler. I came back and, I got some of those rod holders from your bobbers down.
Yeah.
And thank God I got one of those, because my pole was just, and it was caught a largemouth.
Yeah. I got a little show and tell, John. I know I did another video on it, but I wanted to show it here too. It's another, Livescope device, but I have the Minn Kota Tarova. You have, what's yours? Yours is
mine's a motor guide, digital motor guide, 80-pound thrust or 85.
So I got a hardware setup from Cornfield Crappie that is going to house mine on my Minn Kota Tarova. Is going to get and it plays into what you're talking about the fish being conditioned. But it came with a couple parts, a standpipe, and then a couple of brackets. And then these brackets fit my trolling motor. So like this one here fits around the base of my lift assist area on my trolling motor. And then the standpipe stands off it. So if this is above your barrel, right above your barrel, pipe going, trolling motor pole going up, and then that's sitting there with the transducer on that.
Yeah.
And then and then cable coming off of here going up to another one on top. But anyways, it allows you to be able to put that Livescope on the front of a Minn Kota Tarova and have it operate right. But the reason it's
a handle turn, or do you turn it with your foot pedal?
Turn it with the foot pedal.
A different foot pedal though, right?
No, it's your trolling motor. It moves with your trolling motor. So
okay.
Yeah, this thing, if you can imagine this mounted to the top of my trolling motor, and then as my trolling motor spins, this thing's going to turn.
So with Spot Locker, the downside of that, at least online, everyone's saying that if you have a trolling motor with Spot Lock, then you're constantly looking away because it's always moving around like this. So then your Livescope's looking where you're pointing all the time while you're trying to hold your spot. Do you think that that's not really the case?
It is the case if you're using your Spot Lock to fish, and like crappie guys especially, are fishing a brush pile, and bass guys will too, but it seems like bass guys want it on their trolling motor. They don't as much want it on a separate pole because they'll get downwind. They'll just get downwind so that they're not, spot locking and moving around. They'll just get downwind, so they're looking right at their target. So yeah, I liked it on my trolling motor. That's why I got this device, because I have the separate pole. I have the electric foot pedal separate pole. I got the live scanner set up, and that's really nice for exactly what you said. It's got a separate foot pedal. You could be spot locked, and I could be precision. Fishing.
Are you letting me have that as a brother option or something like that?
I can definitely let you test it out. It's got some components that mount to the boat, like the remote sensor, and there's a box and a power box that mount right to your boat. It's a nice tool, but it would depend on the situation. You know what I mean? If you really
I don't have spot locks, so when I have to reposition the boat, Livescope's going to look wherever I go till I'm where I'm at.
and what you're going to do is you're going to find yourself getting downwind, down current at a cast distance away and holding. And then you're looking right at your target. The reason I was saying it's important is because in order to use, like I used forward facing Livescope all season and used it bass fishing, no problem. Used it down view, no problem. Can't use it in perspective mode. And perspective mode is really nice if that time period when the fish are on the spawning beds, off the spawning beds, and they're in that transition area, and it goes to your point before, you can drive over the top of them and spook everything out of there and never even see them.
Yeah.
And with perspective mode, you can see all of that out ahead of you. You can see the fish out ahead of you, so you know not to stumble up over the top of them.
So then you leave it. Do you still have to like one of my pet peeves with Livescope right now is that I got to pull the pole out and turn it when I want to go down, turn it when I want to go up. So, I'm wondering in perspective. So you set it up perspective mode and you leave it that way. You can't like reach over there and turn it a different way, right? Because isn't perspective mode more like a facing it out like this instead of being vertical?
Yeah, it's 135 degrees, right? So down and out like that, 135 degrees. And when you're fishing with that, you leave it. You just leave it.
So this is how it is on the pole. So you're usually running it like this.
Yeah.
Is perspective mode like that?
Yes, at a 22 degree angle to the bottom.
Okay.
Yeah, and then flipped over so that it's completely flipped over from how you had it. But yeah, facing that way.
The channel still face down into the water.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go down like that.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to see that. I'm sure that's pretty cool. What about when you want to fish down mode? Like, let's say you get over a school of crappies and you can't.
Well, no, if you're fishing crappies, you're not going to use perspective mode. You're going to use down view.
So before you set out for the trip, you set it up. I'm going to use.
You know what you're doing. If you're going out bass fishing, and you're going to be on and around spawning beds, post spawn, pre spawn, and you're going to be around spawning areas looking for shallow fish, you're going to have it in perspective mode. You're not going to have it in forward typically or down at all.
Different mount for all that?
No, same mount. Same mount. And there's a couple of different flavors of mounts, and I know you have the fishing specialty or the fish obsessed mount, right? You got that one.
Well, I have the 0 degree one.
That's this one. Yeah, that's just got one more part here. But that's a fish obsessed one that's got a spring locking mechanism in it to turn it. It's a little heavier. It's super durable, but it's a little heavier. And then just the standard Garmin one swings in all positions, right? That one, you can turn it in all positions. But typically, if you're going to be bass fishing shallow, perspective is pretty killer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm going to try out at least all of it. So far, obviously ice fishing down and forward are, you start out every trip going forward looking for stuff, and then as soon as I find them, then I'm on top of them and I'm down. And then if they start to move, if I don't have anything around me, then it's back to forward to see where they went, and then it's back to down. So so far,
for me, depending for your summer fishing, down is going to be in 15 to 25 feet of water. You're deep jigging, you're going to be down. Forward, you're going to use forward a lot on 10 feet and out, and 8 feet and in. 10 feet and in, probably even 8 feet and in. You're using perspective.
Now, with the mount on the trolling motor, when I pull my trolling motor out of the water, can I switch it to down and forward still?
Yeah, all of it. Yeah,
just can't do perspective.
Yes, you can do that too. Yep.
On the go. Okay.
And you leave your unit set on auto, and it'll just detect it. Take it a second.
Yeah, it does that really well. Yeah. I wish you didn't have to do any of that. I wish it was like a 3D type of deal where it's like, I just want to look out the forward, press the button forward. Having to do that is, I want to have the fish jump in the boat.
Yeah.
But
Now, back to ice fishing. Gary said that he did not bring the Panoptics because he had a 10-inch Honda 4-stroke auger. He could lose a small kid in a 10-inch hole.
so he's pulling a sled, or is he
Yeah.
carrying it and walking?
He walked out with a sled, yeah.
Here's what you do, Gary. You take the flasher out of the sled, leave it home, and you put the live scope in the sled with the auger, and you're good to go.
Oh, he said slush.
Yeah. But the Wheeler, I mean, that's the game changer, right? I mean, with when you get enough ice, and if you don't, we talked about how maybe I was worried about snow and slush with the Wheeler too. Boy, it must take a lot to get stuck in the Wheeler, because that Sportsman 500.
Look at this. Hey, Preston says that he ice fishes but uses forward the most. That's interesting.
Yeah,
So-
I would ask Preston, how do you, I guess you got to get used to it. I can see my lures and stuff in forward too, but it's so small. I just wondered, well, why not see it in down where it's so big? But I can definitely, maybe he's fishing with a group and he wants to see theirs too, or
Or are you fishing? Are you seeing you're seeing under yourself? Because with the forward view, you do get some behind you. So if you have it positioned right, you could still see your jig.
yeah, you can, but it's super small. Unless maybe I need to zoom in more when I'm in forward. But in down view, I can see almost like in 20 feet of water, I can see 12 feet either way of me. So I just wondered, why leave it in forward and see a smaller bait? But maybe you get used to it, or maybe he zooms it in.
Yeah,
I have literally, this is what I've done with Livescope. I put the settings in to start. You told me to. I play with gain a little bit so that I can see more stuff sometimes. Because now that I know what everything is, it's why not have it up, right? If you can pick stuff out better. And then down and forward, that's it. I don't zoom in. I haven't used the GPS, nothing on there, Brian. I literally have been, just fishing with it.
But you have your color gain dialed up based on that.
Yeah, I played around with
setup.
that, but to be honest with you, mine was so good to start with. I don't know. I can see I think not seeing your lure is more about where you have the transducer faced when you're fishing. Because if I start to not see mine well, I just turn it to point towards my lure more. So I haven't had a problem with that. But I also use a lot of tungsten, which shows up amazing on there.
Yeah.
If you're using, I got a visitor. Hold on.
Is it the cat?
Another one wants out. There's two of them.
No.
So I did notice this though too. There's certain jigs designed a certain way, and I've got a set of jigs from down if you're on the spot. Well, I'm always. I don't start fishing until I'm on it. But there's Northland jigs. Northland Tackle makes a jig with a flat top on it, but then it still looks like the rest of ours. And those flat surfaces really show up well on Livescope, and I noticed that as a big deal. The little tiny tungstens that are round, they show up great, but flat stuff, tungsten spoons are amazing on there.
Yeah.
And then anything with the flat top on it is pretty nice too. But when you got a minnow head on a spoon, I wonder how far you can see down with that. I haven't tested it in more than 30 feet of water yet.
Yeah.
I bet you it's a problem in 60, 70. I don't know how well you can see down lures,
Yeah.
But
then you're zooming.
Just ask Preston if he zooms in at all to see his lures better in forward then. Because that would be, can you do that? Can you zoom in when you're in forward to the zero area, Brian? Do you know?
Well, I think you can. I would think you can. I'm trying to think, John, in forward, if you could do that. Obviously, you can when you're in down.
Yeah. On the active captain.
I think you can.
So cool.
No, he's saying no.
Okay. I just got to get used to that. I didn't think I could see the fish and my lure is good and forward. Now, obviously, I could see, like, I would watch the. Here's another thing too. I noticed, Brian. You were laughing at me for having that little measuring stick, where I measure out. It's a rolling tape measure.
Yeah.
But it is very obvious we don't know what. Nobody knows what 40 feet is or whatever. Like, we're way off because I had a buddy go out. I said, "Hey, 40 feet out, there's fish." So thought he went 40 feet out.
Yeah.
He was like, I don't know, 33 feet out.
Yeah.
And his auger mark went down well before where I said to go. And then when we rolled it out, he's like, "Man, it just didn't seem like 42 feet, So
Yeah.
I think if you really want to be precise, now I know you just go past them kind of and then push them back, but yeah, we have no clue. People, I don't know if you got kids that played softball or baseball and you had to measure out the mound.
Yeah.
They're always wrong. 13 paces is 43 feet. No, it's not. So that's one thing I would recommend is if you really want to be accurate with it, because I want to be like if there's a crib or a tree, and you're ice fishing.
Yeah.
I just got this. It's this smaller than the transducer pole with me, and it extends and goes down into a little, the handle extends, and I just walk it off.
Dude.
Dialed in.
Yeah.
Why would you have a $3,000 Livescope and then pace off the distance? You might as well go with 12 more bucks for the tape measure.
I gotta see that in action. So you're getting ready for a big perch trip coming up here to a lake, an unnamed lake.
Yeah.
Are you dialed in? Are you all dialed in with your process now?
The only possible thing I need to do yet is maybe chains on the back tires. Because I know last time we were there, there was no snow on the ice really. There was a few spots, now my tires seem to be really good. Like they're aggressive snow type tires. But I'm hearing that you can't stop that great on ice too then. So
right.
I might get chains. Brent sent me the chains that he has. They're like $70, $80 at Fleet Farm.
Yeah.
So I might do that. Otherwise, I'm good. My trailer, I got a beautiful Neo trailer enclosed with rubberized, the coin rubberized floors. And man, that thing's been so awesome this year. I got it down. I winched the front down. I only use one strap. I use the winch to strap the front end down and one strap in the back. It's not going anywhere. I mean, it's, that winch pulls all four tires down.
Yeah.
Now they went back in.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I'm good to go. My shack's I really learned a lot about how to use my shack. The Ice Runner shack, the Escape is a one-man. It's awesome. It's narrow, and you gotta I use an underwater drone. That would be nice. That's what it's getting to be like, right?
Isn't that crazy?
You look out, if you look down and the fish are running away from your bait.
Yeah.
We talked about this. Maybe you ought to just go back, go in.
Yeah.
Because you can tell. You can tell.
That's the cool thing about it is the feedback. I mean, that's what everybody's impressed with. And it actually makes you a better fisherman because you're more in tune to the environment when those things happen. So when you see fish go from aggressive to negative, what else is going on? Is there a big wind switch? You know what I mean? Did clouds just push over? I mean, there's something environmentally going on when those fish change moods and you get to see the mood where before you just never knew. You were catching them and then you weren't,
Did church just let out 9,000 gas augers are drilling holes around your shack?
Right. Right. Or some guy with a modified pipe is,
Yeah, it is neat to see. And then, so here's the deal with me when I'm set up in the shack and I know that we're in a spot where they're going to come through to us. So we don't have to move around a lot. Then it's like, all right, nothing here right now. I think I'm going to get a coffee, drinking coffee, and it's like the Scott Verge rule. As soon as you start doing something else, boom, fish comes in. So what I'm finding is I catch more fish because I know they're there, right? So I'm like, hey, he's 6 feet down. When you're not fishing with electronics or other styles, like I can say, I'll fish next to my buddy and I'll say, hey, at 6 feet down, 12 feet away, there's 3 crappies coming in. And he's like, he can't believe it.
Yeah.
So then you fish down to them, you get ready, you have time to get ready too for a school of fish,
Right.
which is interesting. The cool thing is too, when you're watching the screen and there's nothing there and they must come in from behind you or in front of you, all of a sudden there's 25 fish on the screen. It's just kind of I could sit there all day, Brian. I mean, I was out there from 5:45 a.m. to 2 p.m. and never got bored,
Yeah.
staring at the screen and seeing where they're at. And
I know you're full on into ice fishing right now. You're geared up. You got your system working. You're catching fish. You're having fun. You're doing exactly what you wanted to do with the ice setup. But keep your eye looking towards the boat. Keep your eye out there on the horizon because it's not that far away.
Once it gets close, I'll probably get the mount. I need a dash. I think I'm going to get the dash mount where I can have both my locators mounted on that.
You mean a bow mount, like up on the bow?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know yet. I'm gonna see. I may just mount it to the floor of it, to the carpet up front for now, because I want to see how it works first. I think it's one thing I've learned is get stuff and then see how you want to do it. I mean, that's what happens with ice fishing. If you watch guys that you want to be as dialed in as you can. You don't want to be the guy that's scrambling around, trying to strap stuff down and doesn't have stuff locked in tight. Scoops flying off your four-wheeler.
Don't be drinking a bunch of Crown Royal before you take off either, right?
So now, you get to the landing, put the trailer down, drive in, right? It's just perfect. It's easy, and I'm ready to go. I'm leaving the landing. I think I can do that even when I'm, I was watching a guy in his 60s at the landing the other day, and he's in this out exposed trailer trying to lift his shack by himself. It just seems like you can't do that forever if you're going to be, you can't fish as long if you're going to be hoisting 2-man shacks by yourself. And
right. Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, and that convenience aspect works its way back onto the boat too. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I don't always take that pole unit out with the electric motor on it, the separate one, because it's a little more maneuvering around to get it positioned in the water when you're going to 25 spots in a day.
Yeah. Well, the guy that hasn't had his Livescope on the Shuttle yet is telling me to look forward to summer fishing.
Dude, there's my Shuttle. It's still in bunches.
Together.
It's still in 4 pieces, dude.
You got to get it put together and go fishing.
Gary, if he's still on here, was trying to get me out this weekend, but I was plowing the driveway to get ready for the 15 inches of snow we're supposed to get.
That's what you do on the weekdays,
dude. And if we get 15 inches of snow, it's going to be tough sledding out there.
Yeah. Well, hopefully you'll get a rain then after that and wash it all down the hole. I mean, we lost a lot of snow here with a couple warm days, and then it locked back up again. So, I mean, it's looking good here till, I'll be chasing crappies and stuff well into probably all the way up to opening day.
Well, as Preston was just saying, he likes his unit separate, not attached to the trolling motor. And
a lot of guys I see online say that.
And I don't know, Preston, if you're bass fishing or not, like tournament fishing or not, but we can be to, like I said, 20, 30, 50 places in a lot of up and down and in and out, and
yeah. I'm going to try it on this because I have a different trolling motor than Brian. I've got the where, you know, the way the motor guides work, it's on that spring, so the whole thing comes up out of the water.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna put it on the shaft, or on the barrel, actually, isn't it, Brian? Or
On the shaft.
on the shaft, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna try it that way first.
He's in Nebraska. He doesn't have snow or ice.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I stood on 21 inches of ice, Preston, this weekend, and you know, trucks all over the ice, probably 100 trucks out on the ice, and I'm not ready to take the brand new Ram Bighorn and new trailer stuff on the ice. So I'm sticking to the 4-wheeler.
Here's another comment from John Thompson. How about using for salmon and trout trolling deep water?
I would think.
Definitely could. You put it, because you can see in forward, right? Turn it back. You could actually see your trolling lures.
Yeah. Here's what I'm seeing. Like, I watch a lot of like Clayton Schick's stuff, and he does a lot of lake trout fishing. And in the deep water, vertically, it is hard to see your lures, like deep, like 50, 60, 70 feet of water. And they're using lake trout. They're using like an ounce and a quarter, you know, big stuff. And but they see the fish great. They see structure and fish really well in bait fish pods. It's tougher to see your lure that deep. And I don't know if that's something. I've heard Garmin's coming out with another update because there's been a few things that on this new update that people aren't real happy with, because it's mattering what style of fishing you have do for this update. And it's mattering what unit you have too. Like apparently it was better for the GPS map units, the last update.
Oh, good to hear that, Gary, because I'm tired of shoveling it, man. Tired.
Downrigger, bottom, yeah. I mean, so he does it, so he knows it. This Preston must use it already that way.
Yeah, he said he's tested that.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard guys that switch when they're lake trout fishing, they switch to the Vexilar or whatever, you know, more of a LCR or whatever. LCD, are they? LCD or LCR?
LCD, liquid crystal display. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, they watch the lines, but yeah, I'm so impressed. It's everything that I thought it was going to be, and I don't even, like I said, I haven't even played around with the other screens on this thing, Brian. All I know is Livescope, down and forward.
Yeah, I want to see if I can. I wonder if I can share a video file so I can show you what a bass looks like on a bed. Well, maybe you already saw that.
I think you showed me, but I hear your cord bouncing too.
Do you?
Yeah.
Do it then. Hold on. See if I can find it.
Well, while he's doing that, the other thing I was happy for is for once was the long cord on the Livescope. I was kind of complaining about that a lot, but sitting off the front of my 4-wheeler, I mean, I could run this Livescope out. I don't know how long you think that cord is, Brian. 20 feet?
20, yeah, it's made to mount stuff in a boat, so it's 20 feet long, yeah.
I could put that out by a tip-up or something and watch it if I wanted to. But
let's see. Closing in on it.
What body of water does Preston fish on? If he can, and he doesn't have to name it if he doesn't want to, but I'm just wondering if he's on like Lake Superior or the Great Lakes, or if he's where he's at. If he's doing downrigger stuff.
This might bomb this whole live stream here. So if this bombs, it's because I bombed it.
Thank you for their sponsors.
I'm trying to see if I can open a file. Oh.
Circling.
Check this out. This is why I wanted to use it in perspective view.
It definitely froze your video up.
Yeah, it's spooling. It's spooling the video. Alex asked you if you're ready for Minnesota.
I'm pumped. I'm ready.
Is it going to play or is it going to kill this live stream? He's on Lake Superior.
Okay, cool, man. That would be.
John Thompson was on Lake Superior. Preston's Ogallala must be a
Hmm.
Nebraska lake.
Okay.
It's trying to do something here.
I follow a Nebraska guy on YouTube. He's hilarious. It's a funny fisherman too. His name is it's called Pig Patrol TV. He's a Nebraska guy fishing for catfish and crappies and stuff. He's hilarious. Check him out if you're interested in the Nebraska guy on YouTube. Pig Patrol TV.
It's spooling. Halfway. 18 inches of snow coming tonight. Yikes.
Where's that?
He's Lake Superior. He's further north.
Yeah. That's kind of a bucket list trip, as I want to go Lake Superior, lake trout in the winter. That's kind of, I watch all of Tom Bowley's videos up there of doing that, and I want to check that out.
Oh, it's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
But here's what your nephew says.
Hey, I got the schoolie. Did you tell him what I did? I busted the tip off his rod already. I put it on the what is it called? The panty. I put it on a new rod, and it's been great. What's the name of that rod, Brian? Panty Patrol or Panty Popper? Panty Popper rod, ultra light. It's phenomenal. And I've got Alex's schoolie on there with the orange Suffix Ice Magic. And yeah, I've managed to get all of Alex's bad mojo off the reel, catching fish with it.
Preston says that Clayton and those guys are stars on lakes full of fish.
That's true. So, and like Jay Seaman will tell you that Americans are way better fishermen than us because, you know, the stuff they're doing, like a big dinner bell, you know, like they're catching fish. Where I fish, you're not catching anything on a dinner bell unless it's like a 16th ounce dinner bell. But yeah, it's a lot harder to catch fish where we fish than where they fish. That's for sure.
Well, those guys, you're talking about Canada or what?
They're in Ontario. They're in Manitoba and Ontario, and, you know, fish are just loaded and never see anybody. And, you know, where I go, you know, there might be 10 guys that fished the same spot or the same area or the same fish in the last weekend. You know?
Yeah.
It's just, you got to be a little more creative. You know, we're putting 2 waxies like this. You know, we're doing crazy stuff to get them to bite.
Preston says he's got all that shit, and it's got him in debt. It's expensive, man. These toys are expensive.
They are.
But hey, if you can enhance your experience in the outdoors, this is a safe space to be in, right?
I mean, one of the attitudes is, you know, I don't go fishing that much, so I really don't want to spend that kind of money. But you know what? Even more so then, if you only get out once in a while, you might as well come home with a bucket of fish. So,
right.
You know, I had crappie tonight.
Yeah. Well,
I just gotta figure out a way to not. I'm gonna have to not deep fry them though to be healthier. I gotta find an air fryer recipe that works good. And
I have not tried that yet with the air fry. I've air fried everything else, but I haven't air fried the fish yet. So if you get a good recipe, share it with me.
Yeah, the people do baked, but I don't know. You know, I'll have to try some of the stuff out. But it's hard not to go with the old frying magic. It's you know, it's the best. So.
All right, dude. Well, hey, thanks for hanging out with me again. It's been a while. Let's get this shuttle put together, and then let's get out fishing.
I'll have like six you know, limits of crappies in before you get that together.
Yeah.
I'm already at 2 on the board, so
yeah. And then
I had to eat fish today to make sure I had room to
in the
have
freezer.
it. Yeah.
Hold on, let me just check in here. Ah, Thompson said you got to pay to play.
That's right.
Yep.
That's right. I'm a
Yeah.
believer.
I'm telling you, it's part of it. Adams is out Sunday with the live guy, and the guy next to me was watching him catch walleye, telling him, "Here one comes." Yeah.
Yeah. It actually, they might coin a name for it, because I actually said to my buddy, I said, "Hey, is that bothering you that I'm telling you when the fish there, when to set the hook?"
What did he say?
He said, tell me when they're there, but yeah, I'll get the hook set.
Okay. Because did you start doing that?
I'd be
No.
like, "Hey, you got one
Okay.
on the dead stick. I think he's on." Because I'd see him swimming away with his lure, and he didn't even know yet,
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, you got to give a guy a hook set. You can't tell him that. So I'm not gonna-
Well, cool. Thanks everybody for hanging out with us, and thank you, John, for coming in. I know we're closing in on your time, so we'll check back in here in a week and see what's happening with you, man.
Awesome. All right, take care, everybody. See you.
All right, thanks, Brett. Thanks everyone for hanging out, and we'll check in with you guys in a week and see what John's doing, and get myself geared up and get out and catch some fish. So until then, we'll see you guys next time. Thanks, man.